Welcome back everyone. In today's video, I'm going to discuss my stock photography earnings for the month of May 2022. You know, I know we're at the start of July and I'm a few months late, but I'll get caught up eventually. Let's get started. All right, so let's start off with Shutterstock. On Shutterstock, I have 1,400 photos, just over 1,400, and 88 videos. I mainly sell photos on Shutterstock. I don't really sell any videos. I rarely upload videos. So in the month of May, I had 107 photos downloaded, 0 videos. Not surprising, I don't upload much videos. Majority of those sales were subscription based. So we're talking, you know, 10 cents, 23 cents, 36 cents if you're lucky, and some on-demand photos. Overall, Shutterstock performed poorly in comparison to how it's done, you know, before the new pricing structure. All right, so let's get into the sales. You know, even with the poor performance of Shutterstock for May, there were some highlights. The first one being is this photo I did at the start of the pandemic, or, you know, in the kind of the middle or kind of the start of the pandemic when stimulus checks were going out. I created this photo with an American flag, a dollar bill, and a blank check with the 4 sections saying for COVID-19. And that photo has performed very well since, I don't know, since the day I put it up. In total, it has sold, you know, quite a few times, but it's made me over $500 at this point. So that's incredible for one photo. So that's a very consistent seller on Shutterstock and on Adobe Stock as well. My number one seller for the month of May, or my top sale for the month of May on Shutterstock, was of this 4-opter that I created, a vector image of a 4-opter that I created. So a 4-opter is a device, you know, used for determining a prescription at an eye doctor. It did take me a while to create this vector image, but it is starting to pay off. You know, I sold it for $24 with an on-demand sale on Shutterstock. So that was rewarding, and it has sold plenty of times before that. So that was one big highlight from Shutterstock. I had a couple of other on-demand sales. One was me pouring pills out of a pill bottle that sold for $2. Another was eye drop bottles on a white background, and that one sold for $3.17. I had an unexpected sale, and this was a composite image that I did in Photoshop. So I took a photo of a blank chalkboard, and then in Photoshop I composited onto it a blank stop sign with the idea that, you know, designers could write whatever text they want on top of it. And that one sold. I didn't have much hope of it selling, considering the market is saturated with a lot of, you know, similar things that designer can write their text on. And one new seller for Shutterstock was my wife took this guitar lesson course a while back in a local college, and she had an acoustic guitar laying around the place. So I thought that would make a good stock prop. So, you know, I took it and I put my camera on a self-timer and photographed myself with it close up. Yeah, and that sold. So that was nice to see. In the photo, there's like a golden glow in the background of it, and that was a speed light with a orange gel. So yeah, that created like a sunset type effect. So that was, yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool image. Once again, there were no video sales for the month of May 2022 on Shutterstock. I rarely upload videos. I'm trying to upload more videos. I got a new camera that can record very high quality 4K videos. It's not all about the resolution. It's mainly about the content, but 4K videos do sell for a lot more than, standard HD videos. All right, so let's get to the total for the month of May 2022 for Shutterstock. So I sold 107 images and I totaled $49.34. That's very low in comparison to what, I usually make on Shutterstock before their new pricing structure. It's ups and down for Shutterstock. If you do happen to sell a few on-demand photos or videos, then you'll probably make a decent amount for the month. But otherwise, if you're just selling subscription photos, those are averaging 10 cents. So, you can sell a crazy amount of photos and still end up with, nothing really for the month. Anyways, let's move on to the next agency, Adobe Stock. All right, so let's talk about Adobe Stock. So on Adobe Stock, I have just over 1,200 photos and 59 videos. And for the month of May, I sold 101 photos and 0 videos. Once again, I rarely upload videos in general. Overall, Adobe Stock performed better than Shutterstock and good in general. There were some highlights for Adobe Stock. The first one was of this folder that I took at one of my jobs. It was just the title of the folder. It has something to do with insurances. And I think I used my phone to take that photo. And it sold on Adobe Stock for $2.97. So that's pretty good for just a quick snapshot of, an everyday item. It just goes to show that you never know what's gonna sell when it comes to stock photography. So, it's a numbers game. Take photos of whatever you can and upload it. The next highlight is me writing on a blank check. I wasn't writing anything in particular, just me showing, filling out a check. That one sold for $1.97. The next one was a creative, I don't know if it was that creative, but it was a conceptual photo to illustrate medicine and technology. So what I did was I took a stethoscope and I placed it onto a circuit board that I had and just took the photo. And that illustrates the point of medicine intersecting with technology. Whenever you can make conceptual ideas, whether it's in your face or not, you should do it for stock photography. That one sold for also $1.97. And a consistent seller on Adobe Stock is a depression type photo I did a while back, and it sells all the time on Adobe Stock. It's just me holding my head like, I'm in a bad state of mind. I think I was definitely wearing the same hoodie. I'll put the image up now. So I had a number of sales on Adobe Stock of that image. And my number one seller for Adobe Stock was my wife in the hospital bed, after giving birth to my daughter. That one sells all the time as well. I think for the month of May, that one in total made me a little over $10. So it sold a bunch of times and altogether, made over $10. Yeah, overall, Adobe Stock did fairly well. In total, for the month of May, I made $79 and change for Adobe Stock. So definitely better than Shutterstock. All right, so next I want to talk about EyeEm or EyeEm. On EyeEm, I have over 1,400 photos similar to Adobe Stock. And of those 1,400, 1,424 is on the market. So 1,424 is up for sale. And 996 of those images are on the partner collection. So EyeEm will distribute those photos out to like Adobe Stock, Shutterstock, Getty Images, and all the other stock agencies that they partner with. The month of May was pretty good for EyeEm. Yeah, I was quite surprised. It's not very consistent. Sometimes you make, I don't know, $10 and the next 90 or above. There are quite a few surprises and highlights for EyeEm for the month of May. The first one I'm going to start off with is a photo of a portrait that I took of my son in the backyard at sunset. And, it was just a natural portrait of him sitting there laughing, doing what he does. And that one sold for $33.61. So I was quite pleased with that one. The next one was an extended license sold on EyeEm Market, and it was an image of my son and my wife, and my son is playing with my wife's glasses, and they're laughing. This was a natural photo, a candid image. This was not staged or anything, and that one sold for $69.35. Yeah, I was very pleased with that sale. I find that these types of sale or these large sales do occur frequently on EyeEm. I mean, it depends on the content that you have, of course. But yeah, this is not the first time I've sold an image like that on EyeEm for, over $50. The next one was, one that didn't sell for as much, but I was pleased with it nonetheless. It was an image, we were making s'mores in the backyard, and I had my camera. Again, the key is to always have your camera. And I snapped off an image of either it was me or my daughter holding the s'mores stick with a marshmallow on it, and it was pointed towards the fire. I thought it was a pretty nice image. That one sold for $5 and I think 75 cents. Yeah, there was really no lowlights for EyeEm. I mean, there was one image that sold for, what was it, 13 cents. But that's 3 cents more than the average photo on Shutterstock. So, yeah, I'll take it. So in total for EyeEm for the month of May 2022, I sold 15 photos and made $119. Pretty good month for EyeEm. The last agency I want to talk about is my biggest seller, and usually is my biggest seller every month, and that's 2020. So for the month of May 2022, I sold 663 images on 2020. They don't really accept videos, so no video sales here. That sounds like a lot, and it it is a lot. But I usually sell around that every month on 2020. There were a lot of highlights in the form of new sales. 2020 don't really tell us how much each photo sells for individually. So you kind of just have to look at your new sellers in terms of highlights. And there were a lot, so I'll put up new sellers for May 2020 now. So yeah, quite a few new sales for the month of May on 2020. So in total, I sold, once again, 663 photos, and I made, what was it, I made $278. 2020 is where I spend most of my time uploading content. So majority of my recent content is on 2020, and I kind of ignore the other stock agencies, and whatever I do make on those agencies are, for lack of a better term, passive income. It's not really passive, but for the months that I haven't been uploading anything, it is passive. So yeah, $278 and 663 photos. That equates to about 41 cents for each photo sold. In comparison to Shutterstock, that's very good. And in general, I find it acceptable. 2020 is generally where I make the bulk of my stock photography income. So on that front, there is some bad news. This is where you don't put all your eggs in one basket. Envato Elements, that owns 2020, has decided to shut down 2020. However, they did give us the option to move our content over to Envato Elements. That's their stock photography platform, as well as videography and, you know, presets and everything creative. So I'm hoping that the transition will be a smooth one, and I continue to earn most of what I did before. They did say in the email that, you know, most of our sales came from Envato Elements anyways. So yeah, I'm hoping that, you know, things will more or less be the same after the transition to Envato Elements. The upside of that is that Envato Elements will accept videos, and that goes nicely with my most recent plans to start recording more videos. So I'm definitely going to take advantage of that fact and upload a lot of videos, not only to Envato Elements, but, you know, I'll start distributing my content evenly across the agencies for events like this. You know, I don't rely heavily on the money that I make from stock photography every month, but, you know, it is a sizable addition to my monthly income. You know, sometimes it can be $700 for the month, and that's not nothing. That's something. So to lose a chunk of that is it's quite sad. So in total, for the month of May 2022, I made $525, and that's about average for me since I've been, you know, doing stock photography. Well, I'd say that's about average for me since the last 2 years or so. Sometimes higher and sometimes a little lower. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. And, you know, if you find this content interesting, subscribe to the channel, like this video. I will be making more content like this.